Come on, man, based on the popular video game with an all-star cast and directed by Eli Roth with reshoots by Tim Miller and set on the planet Pandora. Don't call it a comeback. Lilith hasn't been there for years. Cate Blanchett, what the fuck is she doing here? And she must rescue Tiny Tina from some criminals. And boom! Some explosions, some green screen effects. My God, what were they thinking? I can't believe that Jamie Lee Curtis was in this thing. Kevin Hart, I can believe because he's such a short shit. Man, I can't believe that Borderlands was so fucking bad. Green screen effects, man. What the fuck were they thinking? What the hell were they thinking with this fucking shit, man? Borderlands was written and directed by Eli Roth, who did Hostel 1 and 2, Electric Hostel Boogaloo, Cabin Fever, which I may retro-review at some point just to dump on it because I hate it, The Green Inferno, not Behind the Green Door Inferno, that would have been hilarious, Death Wish, the remake of Death Wish, which was unnecessary, and also Thanksgiving. The fact that Thanksgiving was the best among those is really telling of Eli Roth, who honestly is not that great of a filmmaker. He thinks he understands horror, he thinks he understands how to do action, and Thanksgiving being the best despite having some issues. But Gina Gershon, my God, Gina Gershon, she's in Borderlands, and a bunch of other people are in Borderlands, and provided that anybody is still watching after that terrible rendition of that LL Cool J song, I'm going to talk about the fact that it's also written by Joe Crombie. And this is based on the mega popular video game, Borderlands, which is set on a desolate planet with a bunch of criminals and various characters. And I will say that they at least captured the spirit of a couple of those characters as far as look. And the movie looks like a video game movie. It's wearing some of the skin, but it unfortunately was written by faulty AI. I refuse to believe this movie is actually written by human beings. I actually refuse to believe that unless all the actors were forced at gunpoint to act in this, that they actually did this stuff willingly. I know people will do anything for money, and money is for nothing, and these green screen effects were definitely done like they were free. So I'm just going to keep doing the song references there. I will say, as far as Borderlands knowledge, I have no goddamn knowledge of Borderlands beyond seeing some playthroughs. I've never played it, wasn't my cup of tea, but based on the graphics, which were tremendous, and the fact that it was set on a desolate planet, had a good look, and actually had a lot of, of meme potential, but also did build quite a fan base. So much so, they decided to do this. So, where to start with this goddamn movie? Let's go all the way back to 2021, because that's when they shot this. I'm not kidding. They apparently completed principal photography, production, whatever, in, the summer of 2021. At least early summer 2021. For those that don't own a calendar and aren't aware, that was about 3 years ago. Just over 3 years ago. And yeah, that's not exactly a great sign. And even if they took their time with the special effects, which they didn't, the special effects look goddamn awful, they could have released this sometime in May or June of 2022. They chose not to do that. Apparently they weren't happy with what Eli Roth had done. Or they wanted to make it more marketable and make it PG-13 and cut out a lot of the violence that a lot of people enjoyed in the video games. Again, based on the playthroughs I saw. And then we had some reshoots from Tim Miller. If you don't know who Tim Miller is, firstly, he directed the first Deadpool. Okay, bonus you're thinking. He also did the last Terminator movie. Proof that you can have one hit and then you can just tank your entire goddamn career. I'm sure he's nice, but seriously, Terminator Dark Fate, what the fuck was that? So yeah, Eli Roth is busy with Thanksgiving and also had Gina Gershon. And Gina Gershon looks great in this, by the way. Again, they captured the spirit, or at least the look, of a few of the characters. There was Florian Manteo, who played Krieg, the masked guy that was all muscly and stuff like that. One of the psychos, but turned good. For those who don't know, basically there's these masked guys with weapons and stuff like that, and you must beat them down while searching for a vault. There's a vault that holds absolute power. You have Cate Blanchett playing Lilith. Cate Blanchett, by the way, who is a fucking incredible actress and incredible beauty, and my God, she's captivating, was working her ass off here. She was at least trying. She was trying to act in a better movie. She was trying to make this movie better. It was a fruitless task, or a fruitful task, or whatever the phrase is. She could not save this goddamn thing. You then had Edgar Ramirez as Atlas. Atlas is head of the Atlas Corporation. Wow, that's really deep narrative work there, guys. Good job. He wants to rescue Tina, known as Tiny Tina, played by Ariana Greenblatt, who was in Barbie. The fact that this was filmed before she did her stuff in Barbie, or maybe around the same time, I actually don't really know when Barbie started shooting. Barbie could have been started shooting sometime in late 2021, early 2022. I'm not actually totally sure. Barbie was a much better use of Ariana Greenblatt. Jack Black also plays the little roly-poly, rolling, claptrap robot thing. The fact that Jack Black used to be funny is kind of mind-numbing because he was not funny here. I mean, he can be, but I think Jack Black's brand of comedy has kind of played out probably about 10 goddamn years ago. That being said, he seems like a pretty good guy. It's just nobody can stay funny forever. Unlike Kevin Hart, who has never been funny at all. He plays Roland on the Thresher River. Yeah, it's a mess of various parts of the movie, or various parts of the video game rather, Human Centipede together, with very little narrative. And I don't know, any video game fan, any fans of the games, did they capture any of the spirit of the game? From those that have played it, because seeing playthroughs, you get a bit of an idea, but unless you play it yourself, you don't know. To any video game fans, did this capture the spirit? Because the reviews I've been seeing, even from, early screenings by audience members, pretty much were saying this was absolutely abysmal. I mean, I didn't hear anybody in the theater laugh once. It was dead silent during a lot of the jokes. And I just don't understand how you can make a movie this bad, with this level of production, with this level of talent. Jamie Lee Curtis was, was in this goddamn thing. Stupid allergies. Jamie Lee Curtis was in this goddamn thing. But let's go back to Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart, who's half as funny as he thinks he is, and that's actually goddamn fair because he's half the size of a full-grown adult. I pretty much hate watching anything with Kevin Hart because he's not funny. He's never been funny. This somehow was better than Lift, but that's not same. Actually, I don't know. This might have been worse than Lift because there was potential here. There wasn't any potential with Lift. So, yeah, because Tim Miller did the reshoots and everything, and I want to know what the original cut of this was like. Because if this is how it was with reshoots, my God, I bet Eli Roth is probably kicking himself like, I took this for money. Well, he may have just taken it for money, because I can't imagine he wanted to actually do anything proper with the Borderlands video game, because I don't know if anything could have been adapted properly. This movie's also a breezy, hour and 42 minutes with credits. With credits. So that's maybe, 90, 95 minutes, depending on when the credits start? It doesn't give a lot of time for the narrative to breathe. None of the characters are in danger at all. And yeah, you get a bunch of explosions. You get Ace of Spades at one point. You get a bunch of shit happening, but none of it matters. It's all in the goddamn echo chamber. It's like a faulty AI program looked at Guardians of the Galaxy, the trilogy, and then looked at video game movies, but only looked at stuff that Uwe Boll did, or the Super Mario Brothers movie, or Double Dragon. In fact, it's kind of reminded me of Double Dragon as far as just tone and not working at all, even though Robert Patrick, to be fair, was a much better villain than they allowed Edgar Ramirez to play as Atlas. There was one line in this, and I've committed this to memory, and I almost want this on my goddamn tombstone. Is there any way out of here that doesn't involve garbage? No. That pretty much is a summary of the goddamn movie. The dialogue is terrible. Ariana's at least having fun. At least some fun with it. Kevin Hart, every time he talks, I'm just like, how does anybody find this motherfucker funny? He can't even go on goddamn carnival rides. He's not funny. So that being said, yeah, this is pretty goddamn brutal. I mean, this is pretty goddamn shitty. Even from somebody that did not play the video games, at least had a base, minimal knowledge of it. I still expected them to at least try. And no, they just threw stuff at the goddamn screen and hoped that nobody would notice. And apparently, according to some video game fans, that wasn't enough. The critical reception, I don't think, has been harsh enough. This is one of the worst movies of the year. Is it worse than Trap? No, I'd say Trap is worse. This is more just like bad echo chamber, just vacuum, just vacuumed all the energy, the life, the passion, whatever out of it. I hated this movie. I hated this fucking movie. Again, going in with no expectations, I thought the trailer looked all right. I thought, okay, I get a chance to see Cate Blanchett do action stuff and be the beauty that she is. Okay, and I like Cate Blanchett as far as like some of the recent roles she's had. Tar, she was really good in that. That's a movie you should check out. It's totally different than this, but it's actually a movie. Yeah, and the idea of any twists or whatever, and again, I mean, I've never actually seen the whole game played through, so I don't know how much of this story is actually accurate towards it. But I can tell you as far as a movie story, it deviates from, no cliches. It just pretty much follows beat for beat. You know exactly what's going to turn out when this vault is opened. And all this stuff just exists. It just simply exists to make money. But I don't think it's going to make a lot of money. I think this actually will be a commercial flop. It might have one solid opening weekend as opposed to two solid opening weekends. It might have a solid opening weekend here and maybe overseas. But then the word is going to get out and they are going to tank it. It is going to die. There is no way a franchise is done with this unless Netflix scoops it up and decides to maybe turn it into a series like they did with Fallout, which I haven't checked out yet, but I do need to check out at some point. Yeah, waste of Cate Blanchett. Definite waste of Jamie Lee Curtis. I felt so bad for Jamie Lee Curtis in this, except for her pocketbook, because she is great, and she has been great for over 40 years, and she deserves it. But yeah, Ariana Greenblatt, I hope she can just wipe this off her goddamn resume and actually go and do better projects. So yeah, that's really all I have to say right there. It's a terrible video game movie. Whether you're a fan of the video game or not. Whether you're that familiar with the video game or not. It's just a terrible movie in general. Yeah, none of the humor works. None of the cast has chemistry. And there you go. 3, 2, 1, and spoilers. So it turns out that Cate Blanchett, in trying to rescue Tiny Tina, who's supposed to be the key to opening the vault, because she's a clone or a creation of Atlas, and they have pieces of this key, and the actual, human being or creation is the third part of the key. It turns out she's not, because it turns out Lilith used to live on Pandora. Her mom sent her away with Jamie Lee Curtis. They had black hair in an absolutely hilarious flashback. I thought her mother looked a bit like Jennifer Lawrence for a second, but the accent didn't work, so I was like, all right, that's not her. And Gina Gershon, my God, Gina Gershon just looked fucking great. She's aged quite gracefully. She had a great, she had a great, scene, or great, little role in Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving at least had some mild entertainment about it, which is not what I say often about Eli Roth. So I want to know how much of this was still Eli Roth's vision, how much of this was Tim Miller's vision, and how much of it was basically the studio executive saying, we will basically destroy everything that you love and everything that you will ever love if you don't make this movie to make money and don't make it any good. So yeah, zero chemistry with the cast. Claptrap's introduction, he just rolls in and starts cracking quips, and I gotta say, this was just not good. This was not good at all. Cate Blanchett was giving it her all, being a badass, badass assassin, all that. Doing some good stuff. At least Cate Blanchett tried. I don't know what she was trying to necessarily say because this was unsalvageable. But yeah, there you go. That's about it for Cate Blanchett. But yeah, it turns out she had a mother, as most do, unless they're creating a lab like Tiny Tina. Roland was a former soldier that went to rescue her because he recognized that Atlas not only shrugged, but also was evil. And then Krieg, Florian, he's a good psycho that was released from the jail in the opening scene and pretty much instantly latched on to protecting Tiny Tina. And then they've just been friends ever since. He's a loyal protector, and there's all that. She also has exploding bunny rabbits when Cate Blanchett runs into her, because why not? She's very, very smart and very adept, and also can do cool shit. Like throw exploding stuffed animals and all that. And yeah, there's a bunch of other psychos called Bloodshots. This isn't as bad as the movie Bloodshot, by the way. Bloodshot was pretty goddamn shit. But, yeah, by the way, the aliens are named the Iridians. I can't believe I got this far into the review without actually saying that. Not that it fucking matters, basically, but there's this prophecy about unlocking the vault with the daughter that has at least the blood of an Iridian. Well, it turns out Lilith actually is that, because it turns out that Lilith was sent away by her mother so she wouldn't come back and have to open the goddamn vault, because this vault is such a great place, and that's why Atlas wants it. And we get terrible shootouts. There's this one point with this creature called the Thresher, giant slimy creature. That's where the part in the trailer with the piss comes up, where she rolls the window down and then the piss gets in my mouth. That's why it's called piss water. And then they're chased by some people that kind of look like they're straight out of Rebel Moon. Except more thought was put into this than Rebel Moon, I'll say that. And yeah, they have their vehicle, launch rockets, and they explode right out the thing's mouth, and that's it. And that's it for that character right there. So yes, that's about the backstory right there. Claptrap gets shot a whole bunch and then shits out the bullets, and yeah, that was funny, wasn't it? Gina Gershon shows up as owner of a bar and some ladies of the evening, two gorgeous women as the bartenders. I'd like to find out more about them. There's also a very beautiful woman as the bartender of the opening, or the opening scene where we see Cate Blanchett. So there you go. At least I got some pretty women in the cast. I do want to say, once again, just the waste of star power is actually astonishing. You have Jamie Lee Curtis, you have Cate Blanchett. To a degree, you have Kevin Hart. Like 3 degrees. Or like, maybe 2 inches off the goddamn ground, because that's about all that he's worth, or whatever. Just step on him and then move on to better comedians. But you have all this star power. Nobody has any chemistry. Things blow up, we move on. That's really about it right there. So if you were expecting lore about this particular video game, what the fuck were you doing here? So yeah, Lilith turns out to be the goddess of whatever. This Firehawk, this was something that was shown on the map when they showed the first 2 keys. After they took out the Bloodshots, and then Roland got, taken out briefly. Except he sacrificed himself to send everybody up in a goddamn elevator. And then everybody teleported out of this elevator before it could crash. And Tiny Tina thought it was her. No, it was actually Lilith. Atlas shows up with some cool technology, but he ends up getting taken into the vault, or takes himself into the vault with Tiny Tina after Lilith the Firehawk does some cool shit and sends a bunch of laser fire stuff back to this ship and blows it up. And then they leave Atlas there in the vault, and there's a creature there, and there's all these treasures, but there's a creature there, and the creature eats him, and then that's it. That's pretty much it right there. We don't allow the story to breathe. This movie deserved to not breathe. Like David Carradine in Bangkok. God, I wish this movie was roped and then thrown off a goddamn cliff. But yeah, it gets an F. It is terrible. And I'm pretty certain that I probably left some things out. Here's the thing. I don't care. Because I'm not a fan of the video game. I don't hate the video game. But as somebody that just wanted to watch a movie and maybe be entertained, even if it was bad, no, this is terrible. So yeah, F. Agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Rickland. I'll see you soon.